Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. You're viewing us here live in Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago. My name is Dwayne Nurse, your favorite youth host. And yes, I'm not smack center in the middle of two beautiful ladies, but I do have two beautiful ladies joining me this morning. But before we go over to them, I want to give a special good morning and shout out to all our ardent viewers, wherever you are listening to us, whether it be on AMPLIA on 102, Facebook, YouTube, Android, Apple, BlackBerry, whatever device you're on, Oppo, Xiaomi, whatever. We want to wish you a happy Youth Wednesdays, because this is Youth Wednesdays. But I don't want to be selfish. I'm also joined by this morning.
Good morning, Tobago, and welcome back again to Tobago Updates Youth Wednesdays. I am your host, Renessa Ortiz.
And we have
Natalia Nancis. Good morning to our viewers on our varying platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and 102 on AMPLIA. Lovely to see that lovely smile of yours, Renessa. Good morning.
Yeah,
Good
never
morning.
get a compliment before, but I am happy to join these two beautiful ladies. Bringing the youthfulness smack center in the middle of the week. It's a rainy morning, but we want to dub it Wet Wednesdays.
Yes.
Wet Wonderful Wednesdays. Let's
all the time.
yeah. Okay, so what has been happening in this space? But do we want to go to the news first, or should we banter along? Because we have a lot of exciting things for them this morning, a lot of things happening in the national parliament, in national space. So what we want to do?
I think based on that heated discussion we were having prior to
Yes.
coming on air, I think we should go to the news in 90 seconds first before we get into
All
that.
right. So guys, we're gonna go over to news in 90 seconds with Miss Natalia Nancis.
Good morning, I am Natalia Nancis, and here's what's making your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. Scarborough General Hospital has activated emergency mode for the next 48 hours. This emergency mode, according to a media release last evening from the Tobago Regional Health Authority. The release explained that the decision was taken due to a surge in patient admissions, along with capacity constraints across both the medical and surgical wards. It noted that all elective surgeries have been suspended until further notice. Currently, both the adult surgical and medical wards are filled to capacity, with 13 patients in accident and emergency awaiting admission. The TRHA strongly advised the public to visit the accident and emergency department only in cases of emergency during this period, as efforts are being made to transfer patients to Roxborough Hospital. The RHA further thanked the public for their support and cooperation. Up next, a nude decomposing body which was found floating along Castry Street in Scarborough yesterday is currently engaging the attention of the Tobago Police at this time. That while officers were conducting a foot patrol along the area around 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon, the body was seen entangled in seaweed. A medical officer was called in to examine the body, which was subsequently taken to the Scarborough mortuary. Authorities say due to the extent of decomposition, DNA testing will be used to identify the victim. And finally, a 36-year-old Bethel man who was shot in his leg and chest on Monday night is currently warded at the Scarborough General Hospital following the incident. Reports indicate that the victim, who has not been named, was standing outside his Riseland Trace home in the company of a neighbor when a lone gunman dressed in dark clothing appeared and opened fire on him. The victim sustained injuries in his left leg and upper right chest. The assailant fled the scene by foot. Police and EHS were notified and he was taken for medical treatment. Investigations are continuing. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
All right, so welcome back, guys. Thank you, Miss Nancis, for news in 90 seconds, by the way. So we're going to go straight over to the banter, right? And we have a lot of youthful faces here this morning. Renessa looks like she's 16. Miss Nancis looks like she's she's 16. Well, I can't speak for myself.
Dwayne, you look like you're 16. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I can't toot me on horn. But we have heard just about a day or two ago that you know, the National Parliament has risen the age of you know, alcohol consumption to the age of 21. What do you guys make of that?
I think
the smoking of marijuana to the age of 25.
Yes. I think it's conversations that are ongoing, right? So we're hoping, well, some are hoping for it to go through and some are hoping that it doesn't. I won't say the group of people who are hoping that it doesn't, but I'll hand over to Renessa to give her pointers on this subject.
Now I'm going to speak from my personal opinion.
Okay.
In my opinion, it doesn't affect me in any way, shape or form, but I can understand that there are young people who have already engaged in these activities and it's something that they look forward to, especially since that the Java holiday is coming up. They're going out to parties and enjoying their time with their friends, and now having to have the age raised, especially if some of them are under the age, that now puts a damper on the fun that they were initially planning to have. So I know that that could be a bit iffy on many of the sides that are tuning in and trying to get their heads around it.
Well, I think it's a good thing, and we have to look at it at all sides. You have to consider the fact that what is the intent of Parliament by passing this law, and I think the intent of Parliament, without even getting into the backstory, seems to be that, you know, they're trying to curb a lot of public vehicular accidents, you know, the medical effects or the effects of, you know, these do they call these illicit drugs? You know, these
illicit drugs.
Yes,
Go
thank
ahead.
you very much. Oh God, just trying to remember the little thing from biology, no man. Right, and I ain't too far off. But yeah, you know, the effects that they would have on our youth. We have seen a surge in, you know, there are a lot of studies done to show that there's a correlation between these illicit drugs and crime and deviance in society. So I think all of these factors considered is why Parliament might have considered to raise the age and so on. And, you know, usually coming from these parties and so on that my beloved co-host just mentioned, we have a lot of vehicular accidents. And of course, our young people seem to be the victims of these accidents, and we're just, I think, it's good
Quite
to consider.
too many of them are being
I think based on
fatalities in these accidents as well.
Central government won't make a move, I would think, without looking at the statistical evidence.
Yes.
And looking at the devastation from accidents that are happening recently. They involve a lot of young people. So I think their move is to really curb the accidents. I don't want to say curb, but just, you know, try to get rid of them on a whole. We don't want to see those accidents on the road. And then in the case of, well, Renessa mentioned that it puts a damper on the fun that they may have in these activities. But what happens after, you know? What if that pound of something or that amount of something, you know, just takes them
Glass
right.
Of something.
Grass or something, vegetative something, you know, puts them in harm's way in going home, because, you know, this is when we actually have to expect the accidents. Actually, coming from a standpoint of where I work, most of these accidents do happen around the July-August time when the parties and stuff are happening. It's like there is this looming air that there is going to be a few people in accidents and emergency passing through for treatment. So I think it was a good move. It would be a good move, I would say, from central government if that is passed.
But they shouldn't also take away from the fact that our young people need to also understand that they need to be responsible for their actions and their consumption.
Yes.
So while you want to have fun, it is also important that you understand your limits.
I want to throw in there, I know it was a part of the discussion before, Renessa and Dwayne were against it. Let me put that out one time. I overheard a conversation yesterday. Someone was saying, in light of changing the ages or the parameters for these things, why not change the age for when they get the license as well? Because it somewhat includes the reason for some of the accidents is that young people, as you said, Renessa, are not learning responsibility, and then they're going out on the nation's roads and hitting the people who are responsible, like you and me, right? So what do you think about that statement that the age range should be raised for license?
For me, I think it's different than alcohol consumption because you can no, yes, vehicular accidents entails a driver and a car, but what are the statistics? What is the statistics? Is it that arbitrarily those non-drinkers are more likely to get into accidents than drinkers, or those drinkers that abuse their limits, or is it that we taking away the license that would affect those non-drinkers as well? So I think it's a kind of different perspective versus those illicit drugs and those substances for consumption. So I think taking away or raising the age for those substances would assist in curbing, as opposed to just raising the age altogether for license. Much young people, good thing, what I mean?
Yeah. No, Natalia. No.
She dread boy.
Yeah.
I mean, based on, as I said, central government would have to use the statistical data. So if they do take this into consideration, there might be an uptick in that age bracket for license. Let's just put it out there that even if it would put a damper on a youth wanting to have their license so badly, or they're waiting on the age of 17 and all of a sudden it changes to 21 or 23 or 25, it's for the betterment of the nation. Let's look at the fact that young people get into a lot of accidents. But let's cut this conversation here because we will not stop. I think a lot of our viewers are waiting on our next segment, and that is our birthday segment.
Yes.
So who do we have up first? This
morning we have none other than Mr. Lieber Jack. What's his name again? Cassie, man. Cassie. He's known for being at your funerals, airing your events and so on live on his very advanced photography system that he has there. So happy birthday goes out to you from here from us on Youth Wednesdays and from Tobago Updates. Who do we have next?
Up next, we have Curtis Douglas. A happy birthday to you. Looking very sharp and spiffy there in your suit. I hope that your day is as sharp and spiffy as you are. Happy birthday to you, Curtis Douglas. And last but not least,
our final birthday greeting goes out to, can you remind me of the name? Kellen Arta. Happy birthday to you, Kellen Arta, from us here at Tobago Updates on the Youth Morning Show.
All right, for those of you who did not make it on our list and are celebrating birthdays or have celebrated birthdays yesterday and will be celebrating birthdays, we want to wish you a happy birthday, belated birthday, happy birthday, and happy birthday in advance. Here from us on Youth Wednesdays, and we hope that you send the cake. I think the ladies need to take over in soliciting this request from our birthday celebrants by sending cake and ice cream. Perhaps they may take me more seriously. Right? What do you guys think about that?
I mean, statistical data again would prove that is based on if the birthday is male or female. Right. So I think safely this morning, Renessa and I could do the soliciting.
Yes, please.
For that cake and ice cream.
Yeah. So we are kindly requesting that you drop it off at Tobago Updates at Port Mall.
Thank you so much. It will make Dwayne happy, but us even more so. 3 slices of cake. 4 for Woods and the others in the background.
He ain't want no cake.
He does.
Anyway, so guys, we're gonna go straight over to our rundown for you this morning, and we have quite the interesting rundown for you, and I want to share it across my host. I hope you guys do have the rundown. First on our list this morning, we have Jolie St. John, Junior Secretary of Tourism. We have a new Secretary of Tourism for 2025, and she will be coming to discuss with us this morning, this new journey that she's embarking on, and this laudable feat that she would have achieved. And what do we have next?
Up next, we have Mr. Nikosi Phillips, and he's coming to talk to us about the THA election. And on to you, Natalia.
And then last but not least, Renice Allen, Nathan Fritz, Sheriff Tobias will all be coming to us to speak to us about the Boys Brigade Marchathon. So I think we have a lot in store this morning here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. We always have your news first, your interviews first. All right, so we look forward to hearing from Jolie, from Nikosi Phillips, and from Renice Allen, Nathan Fritz, and Sheriff Tobias later on in our show. So before we go, guys, let's remind them to
Share the live,
share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
My name is Tina Macmillan, your last year's third place winner and the Miss Photogenic for last year's Miss Heritage Personality Show. And this year, I want to carry you with me for my Tobago Heritage experience. I'll be hosting with Tobago Updates, bringing you live coverage behind the scenes and also their giveaways, tickets to the heritage events, and a 2-night stay to the Manzolina Grand. So you need to stay locked on to Tobago Updates on all their social media platforms, Kina Macmillan on Facebook and originalmedusa.tt on TikTok. My Tobago Heritage experience with Tobago Updates. Stay tuned.
Do something and roll back, come let me reel. I make a brush back, brush back. Do something and roll back, come let me reel. I make a brush back, brush back. Do something and do something.
Hello, New York! Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. Oh, hey, I forget to tell all you, it's the 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
Dance Ensemble Tobago presents our signature event, Tobago Dance Sport Championship and Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Lights, cameras, dance, our 12th edition on Saturday the 12th of July, 5 p.m. The Chopin Cultural Complex Auditorium. See our dancers, all ages, compete in waltz, jive, rumba, salsa, mambo, and much more. Our Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Who will take home the Mirror Ball Trophy? Mrs. Takiana Ned Augustine, the wife of the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Miss Lynette Louis, vocalist entertainer. Mrs. Cassandra Thompson Forbes, journalist and Tobago correspondent. Mr. Javon Carrington, founder and head trainer of Dosfit Studios. And Mr. Julian Skeet, administrator and former TV host. After show, dance party with DJ Santa out of Trinidad. Early bird tickets, adults $200, children $75, and general tickets, adults $250 and children $100. Get your early bird tickets now from Dance Ensemble members, D&D Jewelers at Tobago United Cooperative, Milford the 24 gas station in Canaan, and the Chopin Cultural Complex box office. For more information, you call 772-9049 and 340-5758. You can't miss this one.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. You know, youth are the epicenter of this show on here on Youth Wednesday morning. We're in celebrating mode, celebrating the victory of Miss Jolie St. John, her ascension to becoming the newly elected or selected, youth tourism secretary. And welcome to you.
Good morning. Thank you.
The pleasure is all ours. Right, so before this show, I told you I'm going to make you nervous. I just was joking. Right, so for the viewers who might not know who you are, just share with them who you are, the school you represent, and we'll take it from there.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, to the listening and viewing audience. My name is Jolie St. John. I'm 16, attending Bishop's High School. I'm a person, I have my hand in a lot of things. So I'm a child rights ambassador. I'm a peer resolution volunteer with the Children and Family Court of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm an entrepreneur. So I do a lot of things. But behind everything that I do, I'm a humble person. I like to stay down to earth. Yeah.
All right. That's and congratulations to
Thank you very much.
Your new victory and all these hats that you wear. It's quite laudable to know that such a young person like yourself are getting into these different getting engaged with things that matter in our society. But how does it feel to be named the Junior Secretary of Tourism 2025?
It feels like an honor. But it also feels like a weight was taken off my shoulder when I heard that I placed first. The preparation for the competition was not an easy feat. There was a lot of extensive research involved. It involved me constantly refining my speech, my video presentation, and a lot of things were going on. I had to manage preparing for the competition and studying for end-of-year exams. So I was happy to know that my hard work paid off.
Yeah, like you speak in the vernacular of a university student end of year when it's not end of term exam. So, we're coming to the end of the academic year. We have reached the end of the academic year, so you're not wrong. But you have succeeded another Bishopian, Anthurium Lewis. I know her very well. And I know that you'll walk even greater in her stead. But what was your presentation about? And what was the title of your presentation and why did you choose that presentation?
My presentation was based on the topic Leveraging Heritage Tourism, and it was titled Living History Experiences, a Tourism Products Proposal. And I would have focused on expanding 3 commonly known events that we have on the island: Charlottesville Natural Treasures Day, our Fisherman Fetes, as well as can't remember the third event, Charlottesville Natural Treasures Day or Fisherman Fetes and or Harvest Festivals. So I would have presented 3 strategies, which were cultural host training, employing youth as cultural ambassadors, as well as developing a living history passport and package. And each of these 3 strategies involved youth, involved our THA divisions, as well as creating implementation strategies that would encourage tourists to come to the island to stay for a while. For example, the cultural host training would allow locals to be trained and be able to host tourists over the weekends for our harvest festival, so that they're not just here for the feast for a couple hours, but they're here to immerse themselves
into the
in the preparation. And our living history passports and package would have allowed tourists to collect rewards for participating in our island's festivals. And these rewards, similar to how you get miles for traveling with Caribbean Airlines, these rewards would allow them to possibly get reduced prices on accommodation, reduced booking for flights, things like that.
These are pull factors for boosting your tourism product, and you mentioned tourism product, which is quite. I'm intrigued to see this presentation. Is there any way that we could see it live, or have a copy or some sort that we could prove for those? We'll talk after. Yes. But what inspired you to take part in this this competition this year? Is it that you were pushed? Is it that it's something that intrigued you? And what did you learn from the experience?
It was based off of curiosity as well as encouragement. So for the past 3 years, I would have attended the Congress just to observe and support the persons who represented my school. And after each competition, family members, teachers, even persons from the division would say to me, you know, you would make a good representative for your school, you'll make a good delegate for the competition. So I finally took the encouragement and decided to fill that expectation, as well as tourism is something that has been a growing interest for me. It has been something that I believe youth perspective and innovative strategies are needed at this time. So I took that as an opportunity to voice my concerns and my ideas.
You know, while we're on the topic of tourism, I must ask you, as a young Tobagonian, what do you see are some of your pet peeves doing this presentation that we can improve on as it pertains to tourism product currently? Do you think that, you know, we are doing enough? Do you see the impediments, if any at all? What are your thoughts?
I think my main concern, or as you call it, a pet peeve, would be a lot of the times we think that tourism is a standalone thing, like we are competing with other islands, but in order to actually get to where we need to be as a tourist destination, I feel like integration among the Caribbean is the best way to go. Take patterns and ideas from other Caribbean islands who you see doing well in tourism. For example, Barbados, they have a 12-month welcome stamp, which allows tourists who are in the country for business to stay for up to a year. Antigua and Barbuda, they have a youth tourism cadet corps, which specifically teaches youth about tourism, culture, heritage, and channels them into those professions. So I think, personally, I would really like to see more integration in terms of tourism.
And that's quite interesting, because tourism has a lot of backward and forward linkages, which is quite important for its operation and the product itself. You know, that's quite good, man. I love this discussion, man. I mean, you explain a little bit more about, you know, the event, right? Who did you compete against? Was it on the island? Was it in Trinidad? Where did it take place? Who did you compete against other schools? And what was it like, you know, meeting other persons, young persons like yourself, you know, getting into this competition?
So the Congress was on the 4th of July, last Friday. There were 6 of us, 1 student from 6 secondary schools, and we each had 3 to 5 minutes to present on one of the 4 topics that was suggested by the Caribbean Tourism Organization. The experience overall was something that I would remember. I don't think there was any tension between the competitors. A lot of us were communicating, we were helping each other calm down.
Nonetheless.
Yes, we were helping each other calm down. We were giving smiles and glances.
Yes.
So overall, I think the experience was really something to remember and something to cherish.
You know, I don't mean to delve too much into your presentation, but you know, the living experience. You mentioned the 3 elements, the 3 factors, the 3 main events: harvest, fisherman fete,
And Charlottesville.
and the Charlottesville heritage. Of those 3, which of the 3 are your most you know, loved event, and why?
I would have to say Charlottesville Natural Treasures.
Okay. I've never been to Charlottesville Natural Treasures.
Well, you need to be there this
You
year.
know, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But I love Harvest, though.
Yes.
You know, have you ever been to Harvest?
Yes, I have.
You know, I don't want to ask you your area, but where in Tobago you think has the best harvest?
I would have to say the countryside.
Oh, gosh.
Countryside.
Yeah. You hear that, guys. You hear that for yourself. But you know, these things are what make our tourism product. And you mentioned heritage, right? Do you think that we take our heritage seriously, and do you think that a lot of the institutional knowledge about our heritage is dying? And how do you think we could, what more steps we could do to help preserve that and market it? You know, marketing is a big thing, a big part of tourism.
Heritage on the island of Tobago is definitely taken for granted. And this is something that the Secretary of Tourism herself told us on the day of the Congress. We don't really realize how good we have it in Tobago. We don't appreciate our heritage. I don't even think we see it for the tourism product that it is and that it can be. And in terms of marketing, I think that's the main thing we need to really package our culture as something that tourists don't just look at a show, but they can participate in, learn, and that was similar to the mystery question that I got at the Congress.
You're reading my mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The mystery question asked, why is cultural education or heritage education important among youths, and how can tourism help in that aspect? And I would have answered by saying it's important because it gives us a sense of national pride, a sense of self and identity, and most importantly, it preserves our culture so that life on Tobago doesn't die today or tomorrow, but it is sustainable and has some form of longevity attached to it. And we can use tourism by using persons from the division, persons from the Tobago Performing Arts Company, THTI, TTAL, and having them have discussions with our students specifically so that, you know, students, they directly learn about heritage.
And don't mean to interject, but, you know, a lot of these institutional knowledge does lie with our older folk, and we have to preserve that as well. We have to learn to kind of probably put this in a medium in such a way that, you know, it's preserved. And it's interesting that you mentioned identity, because I saw a post on Facebook yesterday, you know, indicating that Tobago is backward because they don't have Starbucks. And, you know, I touched on 3 elements, which is our national identity, our global identity, and Tobago's identity, regional identity. Tobago is placed in such a precarious position in that our identity is subsumed by the larger national identity and the regional as well, because we are competing not just amongst ourselves, but as you mentioned, the wider region and the world. You know, so Tobago has that disadvantage, but it's also an opportunity, as you would have mentioned before, to kind of delve into that and you know, form not just national pride. National pride is good, but island pride. You know, the island pride. Because look at Jamaicans, you go
represent the island
anywhere they're talking, they're speaking their Creole, their dialect. And that's the island pride that we need here in Tobago.
Definitely.
You know, and definitely your ideas does bring that out. You know, and that's really, really, really good. How did you feel though about the quality of the other participants? Do you think that, you know, would you give kudos to them as well, in terms of their presentation and the ideas that they would have posited?
Definitely, and that was a conversation we were having as participants after the Congress. We were giving each other kudos and patting each other on the back, because I believe everybody's speech was well researched. Their ideas really reflected some amazing initiatives that we can implement on the island to better tourism.
I have one last question for you, and we have but a short time, so I hope you keep it brief. You have been brief, you know, and very to the point. What message would you give to young Tobagonians, you know, who looking at this might say, oh my gosh, she's too bright, she's Bishopian, I could never achieve such a feat. What encouragement would you give to them in terms of ascending to heights that you would have ascended to just a couple of days ago?
I would say that everything is a brand, and don't be intimidated by someone else's brand. Make your own mark. Use what you know that you uniquely have and possess, and market that. Everything is about marketing. Market yourself. Use your voice. Take advantage of opportunities like these so that what you feel doesn't just stay to yourself. What you think doesn't just remain an idea, but it can become an initiative and something that can benefit us in the future.
All right, guys, this was Jolie St. John. I must shake your hand. Congratulations again. And listen, I know this is an opportunity for a lot of regional and international engagement. You know, I hope you're looking forward to that and preparing for it. And I know you travel. You like to travel?
Yes, I do.
How many countries you've been to? Fast.
About 3 or 4.
Okay, that's real good for such a age. I know how to travel, but you know, I want to thank Miss St. John for being here with us, and continue in your stride, guys.
Thank you.
We want to go straight over to a break, but before we go to the break, I just want to tell you to share the live. We'll be right back.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
You think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games, and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 bottle of rum, DJ start the thing, let me jump. Cause I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 girls to a man, DJ start the thing, let me ram my shit. When my team touch down, everything get wild. Hey, 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 take out the flag and fling it up, take out something and fling it up, fling it up, fling it up high. Hey, 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 start to jump up and fling it up, take out something and fling it up.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
And viewers, we are back here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates, here to bring you that excitement second segment to you. You know, Dwayne took us through that segment with Jolie, a lot of information there shared, and now we go into We see them at Independence parades. We see them at Republic Day parades. We see them everywhere. Everybody looks out for them really and truly. And that is the Boys Brigade Band, or the Boys Brigade, right? And here to speak to us about the upcoming activities and just to know a little bit more about the Boys Brigade is Captain or Sheriff Tobias. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you, and a pleasant morning to the viewing audience and to you.
Right, so Sheriff Tobias told me that he is a veteran, right? So he is the right person just to speak to you about everything that Boys Brigade has to offer. Now, for those of you who might not know about this very well-known Boys Brigade, what is Boys Brigade, Sheriff Tobias?
Well, Boys Brigade is a voluntary uniform youth organization which has as our main focus to advance Christ's kingdom among boys, but in this case now we say among youths. All right. It started way back, and I'm always happy and like to boast and say we are the first organization in the world, uniform paramilitary organization in the world, to start way back on the 4th of October 1883. See how long ago that is? Over 140.
That is older than the country's independence, I believe.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Way older. Way
wow.
older.
Okay, so Boys Brigade has been around for a very long time.
Yes.
Right, so we hear the term Boys Brigade. But I got some new information for the young ladies out there who might want to be a part of this prime military operation here. Right? What about the young ladies?
Well, because of what is happening in the world today, and you know, you can't be gender biased. So we had no choice but to include girls into the organization, and the charter has now allowed girls to join. So it's now the Boys Brigade, which is the main focus, and Girls Association. We still hope that Girls Brigade would restart, so the boys can continue in that framework of being the Boys Brigade, advancing God's kingdom among our members. And our program is basically simple. It's based on the spiritual, the physical, the social, and the educational. And every meeting, those 4 aspects are included into our meetings.
All right. So we're hearing boys and girls. So, you know, obviously we might be wanting to focus on a specific age. You know, so what is the age range to join Boys Brigade or Girls Association?
Right. You can join at the age of 5 years. Yeah, the pre-Boys Brigade, which we call the anchor boys and girls, and then we move to the junior section and the company section and the senior section, and they go, it really, the age limit ends at 18 if you are not an officer.
Right.
But we don't stick to that part of the Constitution.
Okay. All right, because you're saying that, you know, if you are passionate about the Boys Brigade, why not remain a boy forever and stay in the Boys Brigade?
True.
All right. So what are some of the objectives that young people can look forward to when they join the Boys Brigade? Because I know it's a very strong unit. It's very spoken about in a positive light. So what are some of the objectives that you all achieve in the Boys Brigade?
Well, I would first start by saying our program was so well taught by the founder. And, you know, I normally say it had to be really God.
Right.
You know, and that's the only way I could put it. There were so many organizations came after and died. And we are still alive and doing well. And when I say well, I mean well. We are in over 100 countries, right? And with a large membership. And we have, the report came that Africa is now taking over in membership. They are now leading even the UK, you know. But our program gets to really the holistic development of the individual.
Okay.
Christ being our main focus, and I want to keep that. Christ being our main focus, and we add the other activities. We in Tobago are very fortunate to be able to maintain the teenagers.
Yes.
And that's a rare plus. And it's because of our programs, which sometimes we camps and hikes and you name it, for the personal development of the child.
Okay.
You know, and like we are going to camp, and I try every other year to take them somewhere outside of Trinidad and Tobago so they can see and learn other countries, the culture of other countries, and make friends with other persons. I say to them, and they have seen it from our camp we had last year. There was friends that I have made since 1983, and we are still friends today from the various Caribbean islands and even some part of the world. Some of them have passed on and so on, but we keep that network and that relationship.
All right. So I love how you mentioned, you know, just slip it in right there, the camp that you all normally would have every now and again. And this year, the Boys Brigade will be heading to Dominica. All right. So it's Boys Brigade Dominica Camp 2025. So could you tell us a little bit about what motivated you to choose Dominica for the Boys Brigade this year? And what are some of the objectives lined out for this camp activity-wise?
Well, actually, we camp every year.
Okay.
But one is the regional, where the whole region comes together and camp that we had last year. And the other year, Tobago plans it for our members.
Okay.
So, in planning for this camp, camps are normally planned 2 years in advance.
Okay.
All right. So we already know in 2 years' time, we are looking to go to Jamaica.
Okay.
All right. So that's how it is. But selecting the country in which we'll go, it's done between the members, the young people, right? The parents and the officers. Okay. And we come together and we select. So we wanted to go, there were 2 places we thought of. I think was Jamaica and Dominica. And we chose Dominica because of the cost factor.
Of course.
Right. Right. But actually, and I'm happy to see that the young people who you would interview in a short while will tell you more, because they are the persons who actually had the assignment of putting the program together, and we just tweak it to suit, you know, the aims and the objective of the organization.
All right.
In our program, for the camp, there will be sessions on anger management, report writing, first aid. They'll do some craft. They'll do a community project, which the Dominica host will organize for us. And of course, attend church service, do some work with the young people in Dominica. So it's mixed between learning and fun. So they would have the opportunity, and they put it in, not me. They have put that they want to go to the museum in Dominica. They want to visit the national park and some other learning places in Dominica. You know, and it says, when I saw the program, you know, that they're on the right track, and the movement is on the right track.
Yes, what you just said there is what I was actually going to comment on. We don't realize how significant it is to give young people responsibility at an early age. I mean, giving them the responsibility of planning an entire trip to Dominica, they would have to go and do their research to see what sites they could view.
Oh, yes.
And as you said, there will be an educational aspect. So they had to go and look for those educational sites as well. So it's not just the fun, it's just, you know, it's being able to put that trip together, put the numbers together, did they handle the travel plans and these things?
No, I would have, yeah, that word is a bit, you know.
It's a bit technical, but still they are handling the meat of the program.
They are.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, to be quite honest, as much as traveling, the travel, you know, part of it is a bit technical. The planning of the program itself, for how many days? What's the duration of the camp?
We're going to be there for 8 days.
For 8 days.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot. I can speak from experience, not from Boys Brigade, but, you know, from other things. When it comes to planning for days with young people, it's a challenge. So I'm happy that they did take up that challenge.
Yes, yeah.
All right. So we'll hear more about the camp. We'll hear more about the marchathon that the Boys Brigade is also about to have from both sergeants, girl and boy, who will be here with us right after Captain Sheriff Tobias leaves us. All right. But before you go, I asked him. I didn't even have to beg. He says he's a supporter of Tobago Updates, so I didn't even have to tell him twice. You know. So, Captain Sheriff Tobias, what do you want the young people to do before we go to our break? You want them to?
Yes, I would like all young persons in Tobago, and I'm talking about Tobago because I reside here.
Yes.
To get involved in one of the groups that we have, the many groups we have in Tobago.
Yes.
It does not have to be Boys Brigade, but get into a group which would guide and take you down a path which would benefit you, your parents, and Tobago on a whole.
All right, so that is Captain Tobias's advice to you young people. We have a lot of groups that you can join to be active in your community, to be active on a whole, to learn those, you know, technical things in a very early age in life. Because you see, we have young people planning an entire trip to Dominica, right? So we can start in cases like that there, and then we can branch forward. All right, so before we go, viewers, I'd like to encourage you all to
share the light, share the light, share the light.
Thank you, Captain Tobias. Viewers, you have been reminded.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, eh? I want no shake thing in with place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but I the cousin Tufina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put there. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me pick me them go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trace Springer down by the page down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products, it's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and them Edward people them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trace Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show. It's Youth Wednesdays, and I'm here with two very vibrant youths here this morning from the Boys Brigade and Girls Association. I'm just going to allow them to introduce themselves to the viewers.
Well, good morning. My name is Sergeant Fitz. Alongside, I have my other sergeant, Miss
Allen, Renice Allen. My name is Renice Allen, and I'm a sergeant in the Girls and Boys Brigade Association.
Welcome this morning. We're happy to have you. I know previously your captain was talking about your Dominica 2025 trip, and here we are here to talk about your marchathon scheduled for the 7th of July. Can you guys go into it and tell us what the marchathon is all about?
Well, the marchathon is basically to raise funds to go to Dominica, and well, basically we're marching from Bonaccord Government School to Picton Street, just up by where headquarters at by Widow Tambin.
And can you confirm the date for the viewers who are tuning in?
The 12th of July 2025, Saturday.
Okay, and how long have you guys been a part of the Boys Brigade and Girls Association?
Well, for me, I've been a part of the Boys Brigade since I was small, so it's about 15 to 16 years.
15 to 16?
Years, yeah.
And how old are you now?
Going on 16.
Going on 16, so you've been here for about a year. And you, Mr. Fritz?
I've been in Boys Brigade for 3 years.
For 3 years?
Yeah.
And can you tell us what has that experience been like? I know the sheriff was talking about, the captain was talking about how impactful being a part of these youth organizations can be. And I just want you all to share what your experience has been like, the types of experiences you have been a part of, the friendships you have formed, some of the traits that you would have developed being a part of this organization.
Well, so far my experience in Boys Brigade, it's going good. It is very good. I don't know what to say, but
I know it has been a great opportunity to develop yourself as a young person, being able to have friends such as Miss Renice, right?
Yeah.
That's something that is important, having to build that camaraderie. I know my time being a part of youth organizations such as Interact and Rotaract has shaped the young woman that I am today, and I'm sure that in some way, shape or form, it has shaped you all as well. So I know the route is from Penny Savers Bonaccord to Picton Street, Scarborough.
yeah.
Is this your first time being a part of the marchathon?
Well, for me, yes.
It's your first time. What about you, Renice?
For me, no.
No? So what is that experience like going on that route?
Well, you really actually have to set yourself to it and put your head towards it, because if you don't put yourself towards it, you wouldn't make it. You really have to focus and say, all right, I want to make it. No, I can't do it. I can't. So because you won't make it, you have to motivate yourself and give yourself confidence that you could reach so far and how far you could reach. You don't have to push yourself to reach to the band room and how you're going, but at least push yourself to reach a certain point at where you're supposed to reach.
So preparation is a key part of this marchathon. And what is it like preparing for this marchathon? What do you do?
Well, first thing first, you're supposed to get everybody fit and drink water and or juice, come off of the junk food and them other stuff.
And what about you? What is your preparation like?
For me, I just keep myself energetic, make sure I get enough sleep for the morning because, you know, I have to wake up early to reach down. Yeah, so make sure I get enough sleep, I drink enough water, keep hydrated. Yeah, yeah.
And we saw on the flyer earlier that it's 4 p.m. that this marathon is being held. What time do you need to get down to the marathon starting point before it actually starts?
For me, I would say by 3 o'clock because, you know, you make sure and prep yourself, make sure you get yourself organized, make sure you're ready to reach Tobago.
And how can the community get involved and be a part of this marathon? Is it that you have your family and friends on the sidelines? Are they driving behind you? What is that like?
Well, friends, family, they could come and support because, you know, the more motivation I get is the more you say, okay, people watching me, so, you know, I don't want to get no embarrassment, so, you know, I'm going to make it. So, for me, I think when your friends and family come out and support you, you get more motivated. Well, for me, it motivates me more and show me that I have people out here wanting to see me strive for the goal that we're supposed to reach, which is up by the band.
Okay, awesome. And I know you mentioned that this marathon is a way to fundraise for your upcoming Dominica trip, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us how the public can contribute to that, whether it's a donation, volunteering?
Well, we have a form that we just hand out and that we just ask for donations, like they hand out and ask them if they could sign it. Or we can get our family members to see if they could contribute to our organization.
Okay, awesome. And you both have ranks as sergeant. What does it feel to have that rank of sergeant and what did it take to get there?
Well, for me, to have the rank as sergeant is a very pleasure because I know I could, both Trinidad and Tobago, not just for Tobago alone, it feels good because I'm out here representing my island and representing the country of Trinidad and Tobago, and I am very proud of it. And I don't care what nobody say, but I will always wear my rank proud, and I'll be proud of it because I work very hard for it.
Okay, very good. And being someone who has the rank of sergeant, it means that there are persons that are below you. How do you execute your duties to ensure that you are inspiring the next generation or even persons who are looking up to you to one day hold the position of sergeant?
Well, for me, showing them, I'm not showing them that having a sergeant is an easy thing. I'm showing them that the way you have to get a sergeant, you have to work for it. You can't just, okay, so I see you have a sergeant, so I think I go with it. Yes, you can. I'm not saying you can't, but you have to prepare yourself. You have to make sure you're responsible. You have to make sure you're careful because as a sergeant, it have lance corporal, it have corporal, and it have privates, it have anchor boys because lower than you, that means you have to look over them. I can't, let me say you're going on a trip like Dominica. They can't give you responsibilities and one gone missing and you don't know where you're going. So basically you have to be responsible and all out, yeah.
So we're fostering a sense of camaraderie, caring for those who we are responsible for, and also showing that to the ones that are your subordinates, so they will understand that this is the role, this is the function, and this is how you are expected to carry it about. Now, Renise, this question is specifically targeted to you because Boys Brigade is traditionally known as a male-centered organization. And I remember my initial reaction when you walked through the door, I asked you, how come a girl is a part of an organization that is entitled the Boys Brigade? And you informed me that it's now the Boys Brigade and Girls Association, right?
Yes.
Now tell me, how does it feel to be a woman in leadership in a predominantly male-centered organization?
It feels nice because people always saying it doesn't have much females out here doing this, doesn't have much females out there doing that. So me as a female, being a sergeant or being ranked in an organization that's supposed to be for boys, it makes me feel nice and it helps me motivate young ladies that my age or younger than me to come out and basically put themselves out there because, you know, yeah.
And it's really a good experience being able to lead as a female, especially knowing historically men were the ones that were usually in charge and a part of all of these organizations holding the leadership position. So now females having the opportunity to do such is such an amazing feeling.
Yes.
What advice do you give to the young women in your organization and you're bearing the title of sergeant?
I think I'll always motivate them and tell them they can strive to do anything they want to do and to help them build a positivity on themselves, because a lot of them bring down themselves when like PT get hard or the older ones hard and us start to buff them over. I will motivate them because I always tell them I was once like them, and you always have to, it makes you get tough, it makes you feel good about yourself, makes you feel okay. I have to be able to hear this, be able to take this from somebody if I want to reach to this point, because there's certain times you want to give up, but to get where you have to sacrifice certain things to reach that certain point.
Okay. And I just want to thank you guys so much for coming to Tobago Updates this morning to share your experience and as well to promote the marathon that is being held on July 12th at 4 p.m. starting at Bonaccord, right? And we just want to encourage our viewers to stay tuned as we head over to GMT with Chanel Felix. And the lovely youth here and I are going to encourage you to share the life, share the life, share the life.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Today I learned about how drugs are bad for you, how when you destroy lungs you can get cancer. I learned what marijuana and drugs can do. It can make you go to jail, it can make you bleed very, very fast, and it can give you lung cancer.
My name is Sherman Joy Charles, and I am a Behavioral Services Officer with the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Program under the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. So we are here to commemorate World No Tobacco Day, which is celebrated annually on May the 31st. And today we have our annual Clean Air Fair, where we target Standard 5 students throughout Tobago. This morning we are targeting the Standard 5 students from the Mason Hall, Moriah, Cassara and Pals Revere schools. And so we're just here to educate them on the impact of tobacco use and to give them the necessary skills that they may need to resist tobacco use. The theme for this year's initiative is actually unmasking the appeal to tobacco products. And we realize that a lot of students are now experimenting not so much with cigarettes, but more so with vapes, particularly students in the secondary school. And so this initiative was ready to capture the Standard 5 students before they get out into that high school environment where the pressure to use tobacco may increase. This was really an initiative that was born through our previous manager, Mrs. Billy Sterling Lewis, and it's just to really get the information out there to the students, really to have that intervention at an early age so that as they grow through adolescence that they can make healthy choices regarding not just tobacco use but healthy choices regarding their lifestyle. So what we want to take home is, one, tobacco use is not something that they should get involved in. There are no positive effects. So that's the first thing you want them to understand. And secondly, we want them to understand that it's okay to say no. A lot of children are experimenting because they don't know how to say no. They don't know how to resist peer pressure. So that's the second thing we want them to do. And we want them to be those persons that could go out into their schools and make a positive impact. Those persons who can mentor their own peers and, you know, give them the information that they would have received when it comes to tobacco. We want to be tobacco-free Tobago, and so we want all hands on deck. It's not just the school's responsibility, it's not just adult responsibility, but we want to make sure that message is heard at home and also within the community spaces.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago. Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix, and you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. Scarborough General Hospital has activated emergency mode for the next 48 hours. This according to a media release last evening from the Tobago Regional Health Authority, TRHA. The release explained that the decision was taken due to a surge in patient admissions along with capacity constraints across both the medical and surgical wards. It noted that all elective surgeries have been suspended until further notice. Currently, both the adult surgical ward and medical wards are filled to capacity, with 13 patients at accident and emergency awaiting admission. The TRHA strongly advises the public to visit the A&E department only in dire cases of emergency during this period, as efforts are being made to transfer stable patients to Roxborough Hospital. The TRHA further thanks the public for their support and cooperation. A nude, decomposed body, which was found floating along Castry Street in Scarborough yesterday, is currently engaging the attention of the Tobago police at this time. Police reports indicate that while officers were conducting a foot patrol along the area around 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon, the body was seen entangled in seaweed. The division medical officer was called in to examine the body, which was subsequently taken to the Scarborough mortuary. Authorities say due to the extent of the decomposition, DNA testing will be used to identify the victim. And finally, a 36-year-old Bethel man was shot in his leg and chest on Monday night and is currently warded at the Scarborough General Hospital following the incident. Reports indicate that the victim, who has been named, was standing outside of his Riseland Trace home in the company of a neighbor when a lone gunman dressed in dark clothing appeared and fired shots at him. The victim sustained injuries in his left leg and upper right chest. The assailant fled the scene by foot, and police and EHS were notified and he was taken for medical treatment. Investigations are continuing. And that was on News in 90 Seconds. Now, this morning, we are continuing a conversation that we started yesterday. Yesterday, I sat here and I chat with the CEO of Frankie Tours, Mr. Michael Frank, who is also a part of that Glass Bottom Reef Boat Tour Association here in Tobago that often functions along that Store Bay, Pigeon Point, No Man's Land route. And we spoke about an incident that occurred over the weekend that we saw a video being circulated on social media of a fight happening on one of those tour boats. And this morning I have the privilege of chatting with Mr. Ricardo Alfred. Good morning and welcome.
Yes, good morning. Huh?
Now, you are here as the chairman of TADCO.
No.
You are here in what capacity this morning?
I am here this morning. I'm in separated TADCO. I am a maritime surveyor under the Ministry of, at the time was Works and Transport, so it's now under Infrastructure and Works, I believe. I've been a government appointed surveyor for the last maybe since 2011, somewhere around there to now.
Right. So we are chatting this morning, not in TADCO's capacity, but we are chatting this morning of Ricardo, the engineer / marine surveyor.
Yes, correct, yes.
All right.
So my role and responsibility as relates to these reef boats is to ensure that they meet certain safety requirements as relates to if the engine is maintained properly, how many life jackets, the condition of the vessel, that type of stuff. Is certification I deal with as relates to issuance of a permit to operate. That type of administrative stuff I deal with. As relates to what goes on in the reef, one must understand that this is not something that has been going on for years. Over the years, I mean, I could tell you what No Man's Land was from 2018 to present.
Right.
It is a place that I venture every Sunday, along with a few jet skis and stuff like that. What is going on there is something that is going on for a number of years. What had happened, in order to deal with that situation, a committee was formed back where you had persons from the police, the Coast Guard, Pigeon Point Board, myself. You had all the various stakeholders, jet skis operator, reef tour operators. You had persons from TTAL, tourism. You had a full committee that was pledged to deal with that operation.
And when we talk about operation,
what goes on at in that whole space, that whole marine space. So,
right.
Coming out of that, you would have had the two associations being formed, in which Frankie yesterday would have been representing. He is the PRO for that Store Bay Reef Tour Association. So there's the Store Bay Reef Tour Association and the Pigeon Point Association, which would have resulted in, I don't know if folks can remember, many years ago, a couple of years ago, you had booths, one in Store Bay and one in Pigeon Point entrance, where patrons would go to these booths to book a glass bottom boat. They had operated on a turn system. You had permits to put in place as relates to any activities happening in that space would have been granted permission. Any vending would have had to go through to the various divisions to get permission to be across there. That committee was disbanded, resulting in the chaos. And that is exactly what it is. The mere fact of you have this lack of political will resulting in what happens at no man's land, you know?
Right, so you're saying that this committee had the role of enforcing
yes, and also
some of the policies that were put in place as it pertains to safeguarding
the
that
whole
marine
operation,
space.
the whole operation. Persons were trained. The guys who did some, customer service training. All that was provided for the guys on them, right? There was a plight now in which we would have made a plight to the current Secretary for Agriculture, Ms. Natisha Charles Pantin, in which to reinstate this committee to deal with these issues. Now, the committee is is a working committee as relates to all of the authorities are there. Again, at the time, the last committee, you had Mr. Nurse, ACP Nurse, where he would have dealt with the police aspect of it. From that same committee, we were able to get from the DPP office to give to the police how to charge people. There are several cases and there are several laws regarding this type of operation. There's the public nuisance, there's the where a constable can board a vessel, there's the harassment, operating without, with more than what you are licensed to carry. All of these are already there. The groundwork is already there. Again, maybe persons felt that, that they are not everybody understands what really happens out there. But I can tell you that
Right, and so we're talking about not necessarily setting the policy, but the enforcement of the policy. Because when things like this happen, persons come out and say, well, there needs to be better regulation. This industry needs to be regulated. Not knowing, even from the place that I sit, that there has been regulations in place. There has been committees who have worked over time to try to put particular structures in place. But the question then lies, where does it all fall down?
Again, it requires a political will. Now, it is very easy for somebody to go and complain to their area rep to get representation, to say, well, I have a business and I want to operate in this space. And then persons would make calls to whatever and it happens. That is well and good, but when you have all of these situations that resulted in what happened there all of these committees require the political will to go on and to continue what has been happening there now.
Right, and let's talk about the environmental impact of the vending that happens over there at No Man's Land. It seems that one person went over there when they had tours, they did those picnics and stuff, and persons realized, well, hey, this seems like it could be a lucrative business for whenever the boats come over. Then you saw people who host the tours. When they host the tours, they carry across the grills and stuff with them, so that batch of persons who are on that tour, they provide food and all of that. And then that moved from the tour guides providing food for persons on their tour and, sparking the grill when they go to No Man's Land, to persons actually going there and setting up a permanent structure and now vending there. Tell us about that.
Right. So prior to COVID, now this is all before COVID, none of this was taking place. So because of the post-COVID measures that persons would have put in place to evolve their business, you would have had persons changing their tours to include a meal. Meaning that, so after you do your snorkel at the nylon pool, you do your dive and stuff like that, they include a package where you could go on No Man's Land and maybe get some food and experience No Man's Land. And it has now evolved into a very unique and dangerous situation where anything could happen. And this is all because of the lack of measures that was put in place that was never continued. If people are free to explore and to grow their business and to but however it must be done with a certain level of control, and that is what is missing. So if you are selling food, you must have your food badge. You must seek the permission from the relevant authorities. Again, we had a permit system. You know, any activity happening in the marine park, the owner of that activity would have had to write, say exactly what he is doing, and then there would have been hours of operation. Everything was in place. So, and then again, you mentioned something there about the environmental impact. It is the same reef guys who, at the end of these events.
So we have a photo here of what the park,
Right.
or what No Man's Land.
This is 2018.
Okay.
Right. As you see, this is 2021. All right. And then now you're going to have the other. Right. This is what it is now, 2023 and present.
Right.
So you see how it has evolved without thing. Everybody who would have been operating there under these measures before would have had to have some sort of a level of permission, in which there would have been a matrix set up in terms of what these vendors have to have, with food badge, ensure the area is clean. And it's the same reef guys afterwards where I will go out there and clean up the garbage. This is done by the Sugar Lips group, Sugar, he does a lot of cleanup activities there, removing a lot of garbage and stuff like that, because that is their business. But it has now morphed into a situation where it's uncontrollable,
Understood.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were telling us about, the whole system and the permit system, and even health and safety regulations when it comes to selling food, having proper running water, having a bathroom facility available for persons that are selling food. When you see structures like this go up, it seems that one person goes, no one removes them, so everybody else is like, okay, well, this seems to be a viable means of making money.
Again, there's nothing wrong in persons having that vast, having that vast entrepreneurial spirit. The challenge that you have is that the authorities need to put measures in place for this type of activity. I mean, again, as I said, you had this committee that was a working committee that included all of those things. There was there were persons from tourism, the TTAL, you had the reef, the jet ski guys, you had the reef tour guys, you had divers. So everybody had an input as to how we can make the place safe and better. I strongly believe that had it not been disbanded, none of these things would have happened. Since the disbandment, you have had more jet ski incidents. You even had a death, because of persons not wearing life jackets. All of these things, if you're not wearing a life jacket, you are in violation of the parking, in which that permit would have been revoked, And people need to really come out of their space and understand that if you do not understand what happens in these type of activities, we don't understand what happens in this type of business, it is best not to say anything now and just allow persons who know to guide you,
Right, and when was the last time that this committee functioned?
2021.
Okay, that was before the election.
Yeah, 2021.
Right, and even as it pertains to moving forward, you recommended that the committee be reinstated.
Yes.
But there are talks about legislation that guide employment of persons who are on these boats, ensuring that they have actual contracts for their employment, being paid NIS, have particular working schedules, and that the persons who are on the boat are licensed and approved to be on the boat.
Right.
Sometimes you see a situation where, as I was saying to Mr. Frankie yesterday, a guy might come down on the beach bareback and say, let me go and help out Frankie today, and they're on the boat and they are not attired well. Sometimes they are using alcohol or other illicit drugs while they are on these boats, and creating an environment that doesn't have a positive reflection on Tobago tourism product. So from where you sit, tell us a bit about that.
So under the same committee, those guys had in each one of the reef boats had uniforms. They were trained in customer service. Each one of these guys, Frankie and whoever, all of them had uniforms saying some of them will have the name tag, some of them will have the logo of who they're representing, right? Again, just to be very clear, persons operating these boats must have their captain license. On the license and the permit that I do the survey on, they will tell me exactly how many crew members they have. And it's written on it now. What is going to happen now in the new surveys going forward? Each boat will have to have their license number of passengers printed on board that vessel. And again, the public as well need to understand that before you go on these type of crafts, you are entitled to ask the person to produce the insurance. You are entitled to ask the person, let me see your license. At the end of the day, you're dealing with your life. We are just very fortunate that there have been no really major incidents as relates to these reef boats. But if the public needs to understand that they can ask for certain things. It has now moved away from a tour into a lime, into a vibe, and then the type of music that they play. You know, all of these activities would have been documented from each owner as to what they are doing, the hours of work and stuff like that. As you speak about the NIS and the health surcharge and these things, there are authorities to come in and deal with this, because every company is supposed to file the NIS on these things, you know, and pay whatever tax or whatever. So it's, again, it falls back again to the authorities. You have field officers that's supposed to be doing these things. And if persons feel aggrieved that they're not been properly compensated on this type of thing, again, they can come to the Maritime Service if you are a crew member and you believe that you are treated unfairly, and we will take in the matter, you know. I mean, there are laws to deal with ILO, this is the International Maritime Organization, that deals with labor and all these type of things and proper compensation. And again, if persons believe that they're not properly compensated, they can have a conversation and we will take it from there.
Understood. Well, we want to thank you so much for offering that clarification and, you know, bringing that level of expertise to the conversation. As Mr. Frankie would have said yesterday, sometimes everybody tends to get blamed for, you know, a few persons who have a poor reflection on the industry. So I hope that there can be ongoing conversations with the Division of Agriculture and, you know.
I am quite confident that the Secretary will be successful in what she wants to achieve as relates to that space. Because I know she's very passionate about that type of activity happening in that environment. So I'm quite confident that some measure will come out of it.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to hearing about that as well. And we also look forward to, you know, a system that becomes a lot more proactive as opposed to being reactive.
Yes.
Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back right after this. So, see you soon.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy.
Dance Ensemble Tobago presents our signature event, Tobago Dance Sport Championship and Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Lights, cameras, dance. Our 12th edition on Saturday the 12th of July, 5 p.m. The Shore Park Cultural Complex Auditorium. See our dancers, all ages, compete in waltz, jive, rumba, salsa, mambo, and much more. Our Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Who will take home the Mirror Ball Trophy? Mrs. Takiana Ned Augustine, the wife of the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Miss Lynette Louis, vocalist entertainer. Mrs. Cassandra Thompson Forbes, journalist and Tobago correspondent. Mr. Javon Carrington, founder and head trainer of Dosfit Studios, and Mr. Julian Skeet, administrator and former TV host. After show dance party with DJ Santa out of Trinidad. Early bird tickets, adults $200, children $75, and general tickets, adults $250 and children $100. Get your early bird tickets now from Dance Ensemble members, D&D Jewelers at Tobago United Cooperative, Milford the 24 gas station in Canaan, and the Shore Park Cultural Complex box office. For more information, you call 772-9049 and 340-5758. You can't miss this one.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Now this morning we continue our conversations and we are chatting virtually with Kay Trotman, and she is the president of the Tobago Unique Bed, Breakfast and Self-Catering Association. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Chanel. Thank you for having me this morning. And
It's
good
always
morning
Excellent. It's always a pleasure having you. And this morning we are talking about, some statements that you made recently. You said that flights, later flights or adding more flights is not enough for Tobago and Tobago's tourism product. And for a number of persons, particularly or possibly persons from Trinidad, they may be saying, well, you guys have been clamoring for more flights, later flights, the extension of domestic flights for a long time. And instead of saying thank you, you say, well, that's not enough. What do you say to that?
But I have indicated that it is a step in the right direction. So offering additional or putting back that late flight is a much needed service. And we are indeed appreciative of it. But this cannot be seen as the solution to Tobago's tourism challenges. It is one area that has been addressed and would look at the short-term issues that we are facing with connectivity inter-island and with our airlift challenges. But we must also look at the broader picture of tourism and what is needed to further enhance Tobago's tourism potential and its impact on Tobago's development long term.
Right. And even in the Secretary for Finance's budget presentation just a couple of weeks ago, you heard her speaking about the fact that tourism is one of those areas that she believes can anchor Tobago's economy and its economic growth. And a huge portion of the budget being put towards capacity building and grants for that industry. You see now that the BDU and other funding schemes are being opened up particularly to fund and support tourism-based businesses. How does this also impact the growth of the industry?
Well, I do not believe that the BDU and the financing options that they have right now can really focus on certain sectors of the tourism industry, like small property development. I believe those loan guarantee programs are for businesses of a larger size, but be that as it may, For tourism to give considerable input into this sector, we must take a broad look that looks at the kind of tourism we are pursuing. Is it a model we should continue pursuing? What is the impact of our current model that we are using that seems to be primarily based on leisure and vacation tourism? But I think our history in this segment has shown that it's not sufficient to drive Tobago's development, and we need to also embrace a model that may have a different approach. We're not saying neglect the short stay vacation tourism, but we need to broaden our tourism offering and to pursue a model that allows for longer stay on the islands in what I would consider high value areas like health tourism, education tourism, even sports and into the creative economy. So what it is calling for, and the Secretary should have given greater credence to, is not just the development of infrastructure. It is needed, I'm not saying no in terms of room stock, but from a strategic outlook, we need to look at a model of tourism that can really impact on Tobago's or grow Tobago's GDP per capita, and therefore the people of Tobago see greater benefit from it.
Right. And, we've heard a lot of conversation about that. We've heard about the agritourism sector, growing that, the education tourism, and all of those areas, those cross-functional tourism areas that can be invested in to have that long-term sustainability. But when it comes to the growth of tourism output on the island and capacity building, what do you think is needed in that area?
The kind of conversation that we need to have with Tobagonians is one that would get them on board with the direction we need to go to. Because it's one thing for the administration to have a particular direction that they would like to pursue, but Tobagonians as the island is not on board fully with that, and there's not the understanding of how that needs to happen. Once that connection is made, then incidents that we see happened over recent times with the tourism, with the incidents at No Man's Land, I believe, will not necessarily find itself rearing its head, because incidents like those have tremendous negative impact on the overall direction we are trying to go. So that there is a conversation that needs to happen with the stakeholders and the Tobago population that says, if we have to pursue this, whatever type of tourism that is needed to grow the economy, there must be a buy-in by Tobagonians, so that the activities and the actions that we take do not result in detrimental impact on what we're trying to build.
Excellent. And even as it pertains to, that limited funding, individual tourism stakeholders, they also have a duty to find that funding and also have those partnerships that will give them the ability to expand their offering and, just grow their individual product. What type of recommendations do you have for those individual, especially those smaller? You are within the bed and breakfast area, to go out and seek funding that is probably outside of the THA, seek partnerships that will help you to grow and expand the business that you have as an individual contributor.
While that outlook is also, we're in business, we need to look at how we finance our businesses. In doing that, especially with the smaller operators, not just in tourism, but smaller operators generally, we need to understand the challenges that smaller operations face. And one of it has to do with the type of financing that is necessary for growing small enterprises. In Tobago, we have the challenge with land tenure. And it's not that a lot of people are just looking for grants. The thing is, people who find themselves as smaller operators may not have what is necessary to get bankable, quote unquote, commercial loans where collateral is concerned, because the land tenure issues, we may have lands for some people, but they're not collaterable lands because those lands may not be in the names of those operators, because we have an issue where lands are in great-great-grandparents' name, and that has not found itself to be regularized. So there is the challenge for that for small operators especially. So one of the things that needs to happen is, while we are responsible, yes, for looking at how our business is financed, we need to be aware that the finances that are available currently in the national space, not just Tobago, but across the island, does not necessarily at all times complement the development of smaller enterprises, and so a lot of small enterprises end up being undercapitalized because they do not have the collateral to support the size of loans that may be necessary to get them moving forward. So that's something that needs to be looked at by the authorities as well.
Understood. And, when it comes to the type of training that is needed among, different areas within the tourism product and offering in Tobago, let's look at, for instance, this situation that took place out on No Man's Land, right? I just spoke to Mr. Ricardo Alfred about that. These things put a negative stain on the tourism product, specifically for first-time visitors and persons who, utilize that tour boat association. What do you think is needed in that area, specifically when it comes to training and regulation?
The unfortunate thing is that I know quite a bit of training has been pursued. I think the most recent was one that THTA had embarked upon over a 3-year period, where the entire island was supposed to be trained and our customer service enhanced, because tourism is not just for those direct persons who are involved in the tourism products, whether it's the accommodation and the tour operators. It's also for everyone on the island, from supermarket operators to the bank service. So Tobago as a whole is the product, and every aspect in Tobago's life, so to speak, impacts on the Tobago tourism product. So that training needs to be one that embraces the entire island. And it's like I said, it goes back to the conversation we need to have with ourselves as Tobagonian as to how valuable tourism is as a pillar for development, and for people to truly understand that. And if we do, then we know our part that we need to play in ensuring that this significant pillar that is meant to bring greater improvement to the lives of every single Tobagonian, because an increase in tourism's ability to grow our GDP per capita only redounds to our benefits as individuals. So if we truly understand that, and the conversation at the various community levels, not just a general talk, but really getting down intimately into the various groups within communities, and therefore also looking to empower communities. It is oftentimes says, once somebody feels outside of the scope of something, we usually destroy it because we don't think we have a stake in it. That is what seems to be happening. And let me say what seems to be happening. I am viewing it as people not fully buying in to the whole thing that tourism is a significant pillar for diversification and improving our lives. And therefore, once we need to buy into that, we can contribute, and our behaviors would not be of the type that we have seen recently.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you so much, for giving us that take, giving us that different perspectives, something to think about. Actually, some things to think about. So we want to thank you so much for your time this morning. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more conversation right after this. See you soon.
Okay, thank you.
a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy filled us.
Hello, New York! Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe Land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But hey, I forget to tell all you, it's we 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
My name is Kina
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor, to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong.
This morning we are chatting virtually with the political leader of the Unity of the People political party, Nkosi Phillips. Good morning and welcome.
Pleasant good morning to you. Morning to the viewers of Tobago. Pleasant good morning.
I'm having a bit of trouble hearing you at this moment.
You hear me now? Pleasant good morning to Tobago.
I can
Yes,
hear
sorry
you.
about
I
that.
can hear you. Right. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on with us this morning. We see that the Unity of the People political party has now commenced its call for candidates for the upcoming Tobago House of Assembly elections. Tell us a bit about that.
Here we have had a review. We have in our second review of all our elections from since 2020 to now. The executive and I, the central executive, we're supposed to have a meeting sometime this weekend to cover the last review of the last general election that we went on to. And as I made a promise before in 2020, I will contest every single election, whether I win or lose, which I've never lose anything so far. But you know, we still putting our hat in the ring. We're opening nominations to persons in Tobago to have a democratic right to choose who they want to. And we're looking for persons who are really committed to having that representation for their community and giving other persons the opportunity to have other choices of representation in the Tobago House of Assembly.
Excellent. And you said something. You said you never lose and you're going to continue contesting all the elections. What do you say to the persons who say, Nkosi, you're wasting your money?
It's my money, and I'm glad it's going to the treasury, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't go to the treasury, it wouldn't benefit the the citizens who on the healthcare program, who need assistance on social services or need some sort of assistance from the THA or the government. So at least the end of the day, the only time that I'm wasting is responding to people with negativity, and I sense not to respond to people anymore with the level of negativity, because at the end of the day, I'm doing something. Tobago space internationally, I am successful because the persons are watching of the work and the commitment that I have comparing to other political parties that go off for election, 30-something parties. And then when somebody wins, you don't hear or see them again. And I've always been in the political space. And at the end of the day, win or lose, persons have been calling me and saying, listen, we have an issue. I addressed the issue, and the issue has been addressed by persons who win in authority. So I don't have time for the critics at this point in time.
Understood. And for you, what are you looking for as it pertains to your scouting for candidates? What are you looking for exactly? Who is your ideal candidate?
We're looking for persons who are committed in terms of representation. We don't want fake people. We don't want people who just come in because they want their bank account to fit and they want to just get in there to Just getting there for getting their purposes. We want persons who, so far, we are seeing fake representation. We are seeing people just going in to fill their pockets, not answering phone calls and stuff. We don't want that. We want to comply with the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, especially related to Tobago House of Assembly Act representation of the people, and that is what we need right now. And we're not seeing that. And Unity of the People has always been a political party that speaks non-biased to any political side, which is in office or out of office. And we're looking for persons to represent their communities in this Tobago House of Assembly election going forward. Credentials, the commitment to the work and to the people, and persons who have a futuristic idea. Because as you see, I'm about futuristic development, not about a development just because I'm in office for 5 years. A development for the 5, for the 10, for the 15 years going forward. We're looking for persons with the charisma to go, no, let people say, okay, good, wow, we have ideas coming. We need to get on board with these ideas, and that's what we need.
Excellent. And finally, how can persons reach out to you if they are interested? What day is the screening process taking place? Give us the information.
Well, you can contact us on political leader unity of the people, or political leader unity of the people dot 2023 or dot 2020 at gmail or outlook.com. We have put the circulation in the media space. We have put the numbers. You can contact our office numbers at 297 5667 and send your email, your resume and stuff. For persons know to contact me through social media or through our political pages. And we're looking for good persons. Win or lose, as I said, one or two persons, three persons, we are still committed and putting my best foot forward. And I don't think I have this sense of spirit to give up. I have this sense of spirit to continue to pursue and to persist and to be persistent in the political space.
Right, well, we know elections require resources. They require mobilization. It requires financing. How do you plan to fit that part of the requirement as it pertains to that upcoming THA election when you're going up against a prominent opposition in the People's National Movement and a party that currently sits in power in the THA? How do you plan to compete with that?
I use my finances with common sense. While they're using the monies for big truck and all these other stuff, I will save the money and the resources and continue to stay on the ground and continue to let the people see me and see the work that I've done and will be doing if I'm elected into office. And even though elected into office or not, use the resources that I would have put into the election and wasted, and use that money to continue with my social programs and social initiatives. Let me see. You see, politics, people, is about hand me, and give me, and who could jump up in a party. Because as we have seen these individuals jumping up with two parties just because they were getting stuff and then they just switch because of who they get more money from. I'm not into that. I'm about staying to the ground, using that resources after the election so I could continue my hamper drive, my back to school programs, my social initiative program, my housing programs. And that is the common sense that I'm using going forward. I'm not going to be putting too much of money in all this big truck and nonsense. And then after the election, you don't have any money, you have to pay bills. No, I'm going to continue. If the resources come, we use the resources wisely. And that is why I'm able to execute my programs after any election and to continue my programs, because I've been using my money and using my common sense wisely during all elections. Because
Right,
people will say they support you, and then after that, it's something different.
Right, but you have been doing this before and it hasn't been working. So what are you going to do different in this upcoming election?
It hasn't been working because of the mentality of the people of Tobago. And at the end of the day, I have not been doing anything. When I evaluate myself and evaluate the competitors, for you to sit and say it hasn't been working, or not you, but for person to say it has not been working, it has not been working because people and society itself has a norm. And if they don't break that norm to look at proper representation and look at persons, because at the end of the day, you're voting people and then you're still calling me for help. You're still calling me to get an issue done, still calling me to find a job, still calling me. So at the end of the day, what I'm putting in this going forward is that to each his own. And at the end of the day, wherever you sit is where you're going to stand. And I leave that in that sense because only some persons with common sense will understand what I mean. It has not been working because people choose what they can get from you. And when I look at the political landscape going forward, you're seeing people jumping ship because of what they can get for themselves and not looking at what they can get on a whole for Tobago and the Tobago development going forward. So, as I said, it has not been working because of the mentality of the people, of some people in Tobago. And I must say thank you to the 225 voters that I got. And I will continue to represent those 225 voters and persons who don't support still. I'm still going to continue pushing. At the end of the day, when the election day comes, it is your choice to vote for representation or you want to just vote for political party space.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning and reminding the Tobago public that nominations are now open for the Unity of the People Party. And, again, they can contact you on your email address. Give us your email one more time. And when would that screening be taking place?
Well, the nomination process has been open from now till I think September the 24th or the 23rd, I think. The email address is listed there. The office number is 2975667, Unity of the People 2020 @gmail and outlook.com. And the email is also listed on the posters and flyers. You have it circulating on our Facebook posts and our TikTok posts as well.
Excellent. We want to thank you so much for your time this morning, Nikosi. And guys, we want to thank you at home for sticking with us this morning. Thank you for
so
your
much for having
likes,
me.
your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the sky.